tight win, just like many of us predicted. You know, hard game, difficult game. What did you make of the performance? What did you make of how we were in the game and how we actually played for the 90?
I thought first half we were really, really good. I think that goes to every single player on the team. Even first 30 minutes especially, David De Gea was brilliant. Everything that we've wanted to see from him. He even caught a high ball. I mean, yeah, it wasn't the most difficult.
Yeah, there was no one there, but
but still, he's done that, which he doesn't always do. And he was good with his feet as well. I think he gave one away, but look, if he's doing the right things, I don't mind him giving one away if he's trying to play the right way.
Yeah, he did do a good one.
But first half an hour, that wasn't like watching David De Gea. That was like watching, you know, okay, maybe a little bit too far with this, but like Manuel Neuer or Alisson.
Maybe a little bit too far.
But yeah, he was...
Ain't that a sign, though, that, well, you can do it a bit. I'm not saying consistently and at the top level. I saw David Raya kick a couple straight out of touch as well. Second half, yes, he started clipping them into Ben Mee, and you're like, okay, that's what we need, yeah, all of that stuff, yeah, I get that. But, you know, David De Gea gave one straight to them as second half, where you're like, oh, bloody hell, okay.
There were... Let's just say, we'll come back to that.
We'll come back.
I don't want to spend the whole time talking about that. First half an hour, he was fantastic.
Fine. Yes.
Let's not pretend that the rest of the other 60 minutes didn't happen. We'll come back to that later anyway.
Yeah.
But the rest of the team I thought played really well. And what we've said for a long time is players like Sancho and Antony, when we have 70% possession, they will look a lot better than they do when it's a transitional, really open game. And they did. Both of them were really, really good. I think in terms of the way we played first half, I think pretty much everyone, as I said at the start, was really, really good. And it was interesting to see, again, the midfield setup. Ten Hag, as we mentioned a few times on the Tactical Views and some of the other shows, he doesn't want McTominay receiving the ball from midfield. He tells him, get as high up the pitch as you can, get out of the way. We're not even going to try and play through you. And there was one or two times when he drops in, and you can see his body shape. He's not even on the half turn to pick up the ball and play forward. He doesn't. If he gets it, he's just playing it straight back. He hasn't got that confidence, it's a bit strange because if you look at the stats and also watch him when he plays, he very rarely actually loses the ball when he takes it. If he does somehow by some fluke of nature take it on the half turn, he does normally manage to evade pressure, and even if he passes it sideways or backwards, he doesn't usually lose it. So I'm a bit surprised why he doesn't just put himself in the right place a bit more. But it's a mental thing because he seems to hide.
How much of the first half was down to the way Brentford played and the difference in type of game it was against Newcastle? Because I don't know how you felt, but I looked at him and thought, okay, Bruno's looking quite good, you know, playing deeper, even though I don't want him to play there. He's doing all right, getting on the ball. Everyone's getting on the ball. It's nice. McTominay, you know, he can drive with the ball a little because he's got more space. Because I felt like in their midfield, they weren't putting us under any serious pressure. The two up top in Mbeumo and Tony, they weren't pressing Martinez or Varane. It was very comfortable for us at the same time as well. I know we played well, but how much of the performance was how Brentford set up against us versus us actually doing really well on the ball?
Yeah, see, I don't think it was their setup really. I think it was more just the attitude, the mentality. I think for whatever reason they just look lethargic, and whether that's because they played an intense game at the weekend, the 3-3 draw with Brighton.
They weren't at it like they wasn't on us, were they?
I don't like. Maybe someone in the comments can tell us, but maybe the pitch at Brentford's a little bit smaller because I think
they do struggle more when it's bigger pitches.
Yeah, it seemed like the reference points and stuff for a lot of the ways they were playing were a little bit off. Set pieces tended to be a little bit overhit. A lot of the crosses weren't quite going to the right place. The weight of pass wasn't quite right. And first half as well, I think they got the distances a little bit wrong in the press at times, but also the mentality it wasn't there. They weren't as aggressive as they normally are. And obviously second half they caused us a lot more problems. But first half they looked tired and we were able to keep the ball. And obviously when we can keep the ball, we can play through the lines. And look, when we can keep the ball and when we've got David De Gea in the form he was in the first 30 minutes where he can actually pick apart teams, the only option that teams have got to do is drop off. If we want to be a team that keeps 70% possession, we've got to be able to get out of our own third with some regularity. And the players that's going to fall on is De Gea, or the goalkeeper, the centre-backs, sometimes the fullbacks, although typically now they tend to be pushed up a little bit higher, but I guess they'll be involved as well sometimes.
They got, you know, when they're running back to receive it, get it out. And,
they've got to be able to do that as well. And then also maybe the defensive midfield, maybe two midfielders of the three at the very least. But the attackers are more exempted in that. Maybe the highest midfielders exempted. But it relies on those back players. And at the moment, Shaw can do it. Martinez can do it. Varane today looks really, really good.
Some really good passes out from the back. You know, just in the first half, skip round a couple of players as well. You know, just actually not really what we used to see from him. Like really, really good on the ball. So.
Yeah, honestly, he was really good. And I think out of that back five, so excluding the midfield for here, the only one at the moment is just De Gea. Can't really do it. Varane today, the thing I like about Varane, he's not the best on the ball in terms of in time and space, picking out great line-breaking passes. But What he will do is if he's sort of not sure of a ball forward, he won't take 5 touches, he won't do what Maguire does, slow it down, kill the play. He'll just move the ball on with his, whether it's with his left foot or his right foot, he'll just touch and pass.
Before you move on, what did you make of Varane and Martinez together today?
They were fantastic again. They always are. They made so many important interventions, so they're in the right place at the right time, defended the box really well when they had to.
Aerial balls, how we're going to have to defend that. And
yeah, they did. McTominay did a good job defending aerial balls as well. But one thing I want to talk about with Varane is that often we see him making that sort of like oblique run behind the pressing players into midfield. And the reason behind that is that obviously he's not the best player in terms of time and space to find a pass forward. Martinez is good at that, Shaw's good at that, Dallow's good at that. See that Dallow and Shaw come in a little bit, so they're a bit narrower, so they've got options inside and outside to find that ball forward by getting Varane out of the way. And the other thing as well is because McTominay and Sabitzer are higher up the pitch, we can allow Varane going into that space, and what that does is it brings the pressing player a little bit deeper, brings that striker a little bit deeper. So if he doesn't, so if let's say Tony was on that side or Mbeumo was on that side, if they track Varane as he goes up the pitch, then Martinez, Shaw and Dallow have got time and space to play the pass. If they don't track Varane, just give it to Varane and he's away. He's through the midfield. And he won't give the ball away often.
Yeah. He does that, exactly that. Even if he's pressed a little bit, he'll either make the right decision and pass it straight back to the keeper, or he's comfortable on his left foot to just sweep it to Martinez and keep the play going. Doesn't, I know we talk about Harry Maguire a lot, but in complete contrast to that. Talk to me about this goal kick situation then, because it became a thing. Obviously, Jacob Murphy's gone on podcast and said, "Oh, we saw that they were slow on the De Gea when he was taking them slow and taking long, etc." Are we taking long, etc. on these because De Gea's scared and taking too long because he doesn't know what to do, or is this a team thing? What's going on? Because this was an issue at the beginning of the season, then it kind of went away, and now all of a sudden, the last few games, it's like we just look really nervy from the goal kicks where Martinez is just putting it down. Ivan Toney's basically at the start of a sprint race where he's like, I'm on this white line, as soon as you kick it, I'm going to run there. Yeah. And it's inviting it, and it's just for De Gea to kick it long anyway half the time. So what's your thoughts on that?
There's a few reasons for it. In terms of the hesitation, firstly, I think the main reason we do that is to spread the opposition team out. Because if we go and kick it long, and we get the team up the pitch, all 20 outfield players will be in sort of a 40 by 40.
What about just playing off the second ball, like old school football? Just play off the second ball, win the second ball.
Look at the players we've got. In really tight, so what you're doing if you do that is you're congesting the play massively into a really small area of the pitch. In that sort of situation, I don't back Scott McTominay to come away with the ball and sort of get his way out of that situation. I don't back Bruno Fernandes in with loads of players around him to come out and get it. Likewise, Marcus Rashford. I think that's the reason we're still doing that, even with De Gea's limitations. So I think Ten Hag's not blind. He knows what he's doing. He knows that playing this way with De Gea carries its risks. But I think that's why he's doing it, is that once De Gea kicks the ball, if we can win the second ball with the opposition team spread out much more like they are now, which we forced them to do by having Varane and Martinez so deep, we've then got a good chance of our midfielder being able to take the ball into open space and carry it forward, which McTominay's good at, Sabitzer's good at, Bruno's good at, into open space. Not with players around them, but with open space. So that's why we're doing it, it's to expand the opposition team, because we expand them sort of horizontal, sort of vertically when they sort of have to push their strikers really high, have to push their defensive line, sort of keep them on the halfway line, but we also expand them the other way, because their centre-backs are split widthways, full-backs are really wide, we've got to keep them really wide on the whole pitch. So that gives us the best chance of hopefully being able to create a sort of transition.
Was De Gea doing that wrong today then? Was it?
No, De Gea wasn't doing it wrong. I think the difficulty is that De Gea, because he doesn't know necessarily what he's not 100% confident in himself, and look, you could feel it in the ground. People are getting frustrated when the ball goes back to De Gea because it gets kicked away, and he can't even, in the way that there was a point when Rayo was dictating the game, he was drawing us in, he pinged out to fullback one side, came back to him. The Brentford players are so happy to just bounce it back to Rayo, knowing that they'll draw the pressure in centrally by midfielders receiving it. The centre-backs will play it into midfield, who will play it first time back to De Gea, draw the players in centrally, sorry, not De Gea, David Raya, and Rayo will ping it out to the fullback on the opposite side and they're away. And the interesting thing with Brentford, although they sort of, in theory, play in a 3 or a 5, they build up in a 4. They push Rico Henry onto the last line, Ben Mee pushes out to the left. So you get that symmetry, you get that same challenge that we have every week in terms of teams playing with a 4, and you can see how important it is to have a keeper that can make those passes.
Who was your man of the match to finish off to wrap up?
Oh, man of the match, I think McTominay was pretty good. I think Varane was pretty good. Martial was good. You know what, I'm going to give it Varane. I love Varane. The Rolls Royce, the GOAT, the race.
We definitely do agree on that. Big up, man. Nice one.